Hope you can see this.
Great, take it away.
Okay, is my presentation on?
Yes.
Not sure. Okay. So hello everybody, one more time. I'm a teacher trainer, and I'm a researcher in applied linguistics. So I think I'm in this very lucky position to be able to, combine theory with practice. And I'm always trying to make a change by showing teachers how research and how evidence-based teaching can really inform their work. So hopefully by the end of my presentation, you will feel more confident about what you do in your classes. And thank you also to Phil, to Sandy, to Ella, who in a way touched upon the things I will be talking about in my presentation. I'll be talking about interactive tasks. So, well, the name is, I think, self-explanatory, but just to make sure we're on the same page, interactive tasks are all communicative tasks in which there is at least two-way conversation, two-way communication. Because as you know, we may have a communicative task in which a learner presents something to the group, whereas interactive tasks obviously means an exchange of thoughts, of opinions, of ideas. And what I'm going to do today is I'm going to show you 10 ways to tweak interactive tasks, and they are all going to be research-based. And by tweaking interactive tasks, I mean showing you ways how you can get more out of them. I will not be showing you practical ideas for tasks, but I will be showing you how to work with any task you have, any interactive tasks. So without much further ado, okay. There we go. So the first tip is, and it's already been talked about today, you can let your learners plan what they're going to say. And researchers are now more or less clear about the timing you can give to your learners. As you can see, between 1 and 3 minutes seem ideal and really practical, considering the classroom time we have. Research on this planning time has been carried out for some time now, and researchers have examined like 30 minutes, 30 seconds, 5 minutes, 3 minutes, 10 minutes, what seems reasonable and what really increases fluency and what increases learner complexity is between 1 to 3 minutes. And I think it's really feasible. It's not really, probably not in most cases possible to allocate more than 10 minutes of planning. Now, as I said, planning allows learners to increase their fluency and complexity, but their accuracy, well, it's not improved so much. Let me just briefly explain why. Because they have time to prepare, to organize their thoughts. They have to match the lexical items they have at their disposal to those ideas. And because they have time to prepare, it results in, fewer pauses, fewer hesitations, fewer breaks, and so on. Because learners think about what they're going to say, they focus less on how they're going to say this. So accuracy, in most cases, is not affected by planning. So my first tip, let them plan, and not more than 3 minutes. The second thing you can consider is allowing your learners to prepare notes. Now, I know that some teachers like to do it and other teachers prefer something more spontaneous without planning. But if they do plan, if they do take notes, then make sure it's, well, sentence fragments and not full sentences. And obviously, we want this to be a speaking activity and not a reading activity, which means that, well, we should really make sure that our learners know that we don't want them to have a scripted conversation or scripted performance, but it should be natural. So they can take notes, but while performing the task, well, they shouldn't really refer to those notes. And the researchers, as you can see, have also investigated the possibility of taking notes in learners' first language. It's possible, it's fine, as long as, like I said, they don't use these notes during the task. The third tip is you may want to pre-teach vocabulary, but probably not grammar. Why is that? Well, vocabulary is important for task completion. Grammar is less important. And also, teaching grammar takes time. We all know it doesn't happen overnight. If we introduce a grammatical structure before a task, then students may feel it's really a language practice rather than communication. And also it's not really feasible. It's not possible really to teach grammar in such a short time period. So yes, you may consider introducing some key vocabulary. Modeling the task. This is actually an alternative to this pre-teaching of grammar. When you model, you show your learners, you demonstrate what they should do, you demonstrate the language, you scaffold things for them. However, bear in mind that modeling is really a very powerful teaching tool, which has both advantages and there are dangers to it. The biggest danger of modeling is that students always like to follow the model. So depending on what you show them or what you model, they are very likely to follow it, to the letter. This, in some cases, may deprive them of opportunities for creativity. These are things that you have to, consider as teachers. My fifth tip is you should give them precise time to perform the task. I mean, learners should be aware of the time frame. So saying things like you have 3 minutes to do the task, or you have 10 minutes, and so on. There is no clear research on this optimal task duration. Obviously, different classes, different learners, different things to consider. But it's always a good idea. I think it just provides them some, psychologically, it provides some safety, some nice frames to stick to. But obviously, if they're on task, you can always expand this time if the need be. The sixth tip is you can give them access to support. By support, I mean different illustrations, dictionaries, a list of key phrases, for example. Researchers have also investigated this area, and now they say that it's much better to give the learners linguistic input rather than non-linguistic. So it's better to give your learners a list of key phrases or a dictionary to use or some text to read rather than pictures or tables or diagrams, simply because those pictures, this non-linguistic input overburdens them. This is too much processing going on, too much cognitive load. My seventh tip is providing learners with corrective feedback. This has already been discussed today. Research shows that most learners want to be corrected. And this has been shown in research worldwide and also in Poland. Most of our learners want to know what mistakes they made. Our task is to provide, a mixed various ways of corrective feedback. Preferably, we teachers should start with getting learners to self-correct. So if a learner says something like, I go there instead of I went, then you may, somehow signal that there is a mistake. And if the learner cannot self-correct, you may refer to peer correction, or you may use a recast. A recast is simply a repetition of this wrong utterance, but you don't really repeat the wrong utterance, you repeat it with correction. So, oh, you went there, and so on. Eighth tip, task repetition. This is so vital and crucial, and Phil talked about this today. Whenever we repeat a story to our friends, we always, change something. It's always much clearer. We use more complex language. We are more fluent, more accurate. There are different benefits of repeating a task. Don't feel you're a lazy teacher if you ask your learners to repeat the same task over and over again. Just make sure they do it with a little twist, with something changed. For example, as you can see my ideas here, with a different interlocutor, with a different learner. You can shorten the time of their speech, or you can lengthen the time they perform the task at a different place in the classroom, different topics. So the procedure of the task stays the same, but you change the topic. You can assign them a different role. For example, repeat the task, but now you're a famous footballer, or now you're a famous politician, and so on, even in a different modality. If you did it as an oral task, now you can write it down. Tip number 9, I'm running out of time. Ask them to transcribe their performance. Self-transcriptions made by students are a fantastic teaching tool, and I strongly recommend your learners to record themselves performing the task, and then as homework they can transcribe it and focus on different areas of improvement, on discourse markers, adverbs, adjectives, editing their work. And finally, tip number 10, feedback. Not only you can feedback, but learners can feedback to themselves. Use peer correction, self-reports, focus on different areas. Okay, thank you. I've finished. Sorry, I'm a bit behind schedule.